What was even scarier was that I knew where I was. I just couldn't stop it. Because I feel like most of the time when you hear about the Twisties, it's like, oh, I got lost in the air. But it's like, no, I knew what I was doing. I just felt like I had no control. I feel like it really started with my injury because I got hurt when I was twisting and kind of long after I got injured. But then once it happened, I just couldn't figure out why, because my ankle was healed by then. I kind of thought I just messed up, and so I was gonna try again. I was like, oh, this can't be happening. But then it happened again, and I just really scared.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the PerformHappy Podcast. I am so excited with my guest today. We have a true expert in resilience, overcoming mental blocks, and her expert in parenting an athlete who is overcoming mental blocks and building resilience. Welcome to the show, Sarah and Jennifer Newmeyer.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
I'm so excited to have you guys because really in all of the future clients I ever have the Twisties, I'm going to share your story. It's so inspiring and I just can't wait for people to hear from you. So Sarah, you are a level 10 gymnast going into your third year level 10, getting excited about getting recruited to college, hopefully in the near future if all things fall into place. What are you loving about gymnastics right now?
I think I'm just loving that I feel so confident in myself again and that I can apply what I've learned through the Twisties into real life.
And that's the thing I know, Jennifer, you and I know that the work we do in PerformHappy it's about gymnastics, but it's about so much more than that. That yes, you get a mental block and everything is hard and then you build all these skills and then you come out the other side a better gymnast and a better human. But I'm curious, let's even just dive in and say, Jennifer, what have you noticed has changed in Sarah as a result of going through the struggles that she has?
She's a much more patient human. That is the biggest thing. And that's a lot of people told us, including you, including her coach, Suzanne, that she works with. Just patience, patience, patience. Because it used to be like, oh, I'm going to just work on this skill, get it, and move on to the next one. And now she's okay taking a little extra time to work through things. And that's a huge life skill. I mean, as a parent, I'm still learning patience. She's way ahead of where I was at 15.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, same. I'm just to be able to pause and let life unfold is so hard when you have big dreams, especially when you feel like you're on, this timeline. So Sarah, you never really had mental struggles. When you came to start working with Coach Suzanne, Dr. Suzanne Potratz, who's one of our amazing coaches, our head coach, you didn't come because you were having struggles, right? What kind of brought you guys to PerformHappy to begin with?
Well, at first I was kind of unsure about it. I was like, yeah, sure, I'll try. But because I'd never had struggles before, but it was really, I think my nutritionist and my mom who pushed for me to do it.
Yeah, I'm a healthcare provider, so I'm big in prophylactically treating things. Prevention is the best medicine, right? And her nutritionist, we connected with her for the same reason. And she said, you've got this nutrition thing down. Now that she's going into level 10, you really need to work on the mental side. And working on it when there's not a problem is the best time. So if things come up, you have the resources, the people to talk to, all the things. So it was more of preventative medicine, not, oh, we're in the middle of a problem. What do we do?
From our perspective, we love that because then life is going to happen as a gymnast and you're able to just jump right in and use those tools. Mm-hmm. So one of my favorite moments when you guys first joined our program, maybe within a few months, was hearing about the fire that you guys experienced. So I don't know if you guys remember, but 2023, obviously you remember, but I'm thinking the listeners, you'll always remember there was this big fire that came out of nowhere in Lahaina and you guys were vacationing in Lahaina at the time, right? Would you tell us a little bit about what that experience was like?
It was pretty intense because we were on day 2 of our vacation. The power went out and we had no way to cook food and we were hungry. So we left our condo in Lahaina to go find food, and we couldn't find any food because every place was shut down because the power was shut down everywhere. So we drove out of town, found some food, made some friends at the restaurant. And as we were driving back into town, there was this little fire brewing and we couldn't get past the town. They just said, hey, it's probably about an hour wait. Just wait here and then you can get back into town. So we parked on the highway and just waited to get by. And our wait turned into about 7 hours on the highway watching the town get bigger and bigger under fire. And the wind was blowing. It was probably 80, 90 mile an hour winds blowing all around. We're a family of 6. Sarah has 2 little siblings. They were pretty scared from the wind. A lot of really scary stuff happening around us. And we were just watching this fire and her little siblings were just shaking back there. And it was absolutely terrifying, just horrible. And, we're hungry. We're pretty sure we're not going to get our clothes back. We're pretty sure we're not sure where we're going to stay. And my husband and I are looking at each other and I was just like, this is awful. This is really awful. Day 2 of our vacation. It's supposed to be, happy times, beach times. And I just remember sitting there and then Sarah's like, this is what she does. So I'll let her finish the story.
Well, I was kind of like, it's like an adventure, guys. And our vacation just got way more bold and way more creative.
And it just turned the situation around. We were all just sitting there kind of, feeling sorry for ourselves. And suddenly we were like, okay, this is a challenge. Let's go. And then, she was the one who was still so mentally strong in the moment, just said, well, hey, how about if we just turn around, go back to that restaurant where we met the people at lunch, and let's go find out if they know where we can stay. Because the police are telling us just to stay put. And if we stay put, we might get burned. And we really don't want to sleep on the side of the highway. So let's go find some friends. And she was the one who's like, let's go back to that restaurant. Let's go talk to them. And we did. And guess what? She was right. And I mean, they always tell you in these situations, don't panic. She was the person who was the least phased because of everything that you guys trained them to do. And she kept calm, and she was the one who helped us find shelter, find food, find all the things. And it was a pretty bold and creative vacation. I would not recommend extreme vacationing, but it also changed our family, and it was an amazing experience for us. And everyone just came home so grateful, so tight-knit. And we actually went back a couple months ago and finished all the therapy because some of us had to go through PTSD therapy and all the things. And it was amazing. But she was the one who was the leader.
Yeah. I mean, you posted that in the group and we were all just floored that that's the reaction. And that's what we talk about all the time is we want to build this growth mindset where challenges, we're like, great, where's the next one? Okay, a setback, cool. What's the learning here? And I have seen in you, Sarah, that you just continue to increase your growth mindset, not because you're like you are amazing and probably a genius, but because you work on it and because you've actually had these setbacks that maybe you wouldn't even be as strong if you hadn't had some injuries and had some fears and so I think it's a lot of us, we fear the hard stuff, but as a parent, you can probably look at her and go, wow, those hard things have made you really incredible. That's my guess. So, okay, now let's talk about the Twisties. So for anyone who, was living under a rock when Simone Biles was in the Olympics, this was something that she went through. This is something that many high-level gymnasts actually experience, and it's underreported, I would say. Sarah, would you tell us what it's like when you sort of lose the ability to twist on command?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's quite scary, really frustrating, and you kind of just feel like giving up all the time, and you kind of don't know why you're doing it. So it's not fun. But
and what happens? What is actually happening? So when you first were like, whoa, this is what was that experience like for you?
I kind of thought I just messed up. And so I was going to try again. I was like, oh, this can't be happening. That's not what's happening. But then it happened again. And I just really scared.
And so when you would try like a layout, you would accidentally do a full, right? Or
Yes. Yeah.
or you would try to do something that didn't have a twist and you would accidentally twist.
Yeah. And what was even scarier was that I like knew where I was. I just like couldn't stop it. Because I feel like most of the time when you hear about the twisties, it's like, oh, I got lost in the air. But it's like, no, I knew what I was doing. I just like felt like I had no control.
And so you're flying through the air, upside down and backwards, and all of a sudden, like you have no steering wheel, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm sure your brain's like, we're good here. No thanks. We're done twisting forever. Did it feel like that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and I think she even landed head first in the foam pit.
No,
Open phone.
No, he was on a mat.
Oh, that was on a mat?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, dear.
It's okay.
So yeah, your brain was not having twisting. Do you have any idea what might have started that domino effect, kind of started the confidence slide?
Well, I feel like it really started with my injury because I got hurt when I was twisting and in kind of like long after I got injured. But then like once it happened, I just like couldn't figure out why because my ankle was like healed by then. So I think it was from the injury though.
Yeah, it can. And sometimes, usually when there is a skill that you've mastered that you can do really well, and all of a sudden your body isn't cooperating, it's obviously not a technical thing. It's that there's somewhere in the blueprint in your mind of how that skill works, it got disrupted because confidence took a blow.
Mhm.
So then you've got like this blank spot of why can't I control this? And so what did you do with Dr. Suzanne, kind of in the beginning, and how are you feeling about how it started out, the recovery from this?
I was kind of nervous about the recovery because I was like, it has to be soon because I have nationals in like a few weeks. But Suzanne helped me to start trying visualizing like really specifically what I wanted. And we worked on a lot of communication about like how was I going to talk to my coach about this and like how was I going to talk to myself about this.
Okay. And then what happened at nationals?
Well, I ended up competing a twisting vault, but I couldn't warm up like non-twisting vaults. So I just did timer and then I went and did a tuck full, Yurchenko. So
It was the most reproducible vault that she could do. It was kind of her default. If she runs down there and tries to flip, she will do a tuck full. And so between her coaches and Suzanne, we determined it was a safe, like this is safe. If she tries to do anything else, it will be unsafe. So it was actually kind of wild because people would, I watched her warm up and they're like, are you going to go flip? And she's just like, no, I'm just waiting to take my turn. She actually only competed one. It was like one and done to be safe.
yes.
So It was definitely a team effort of, is this going to be safe? Yes or no, we need a go or no go. And it was fine. Sarah was also very clear of, I'm not going to do this after nationals.
I was chatting with some D1 gymnasts about you. I was actually at Utah doing a camp, and you were kind of in this like, we're still trying to figure this out. We're still trying to figure this out. So I sort of went around the room. I was like, Miley O'Keefe, just like, who's here? Who's ever had the twisties? And I think it was Miley who was like, oh, I had it so bad. And all I could compete was a tuck full because it was the only thing that I knew I would be able to do. So it's funny hearing you say that. And Miley, sorry if that wasn't you. Somebody in that room full of incredible gymnasts, and I was just chatting. And I talked to several of these extremely, accomplished gymnasts. And they're like, I had the twisties, I had the twisties, I had the twisties. And so we were just chatting about it. And I want to say that same, like maybe the weekend before or that same weekend, you went to a college camp. And maybe we'll backtrack a little bit. So you did nationals and then you're like, let's get it back. And I'm going to these camps and I'm going to be amazing. And then like, how did your summer play out actually?
Well, for like more than half the summer, I just did timers. And I was kind of like, is this all I'm ever going to do? And I made some breakthroughs actually at college camps. And I was able to get a tuck confidently. And then like when I felt ready, that was a very specific thing. It wasn't when my coach wanted me to, it was when I was ready. I started trying layouts. And then it was kind of a group effort with both my coach and I when we wanted me to do a lay full. And then the beginning of the school year, that's when I did my full vault again.
Yeah. So I think some people might go, okay, I could just tuck full forever. That's it. I'm just going to be afraid of vault. I just will hope that I can do this. I think a lot of people, that's kind of how they manage it. They just sort of stay scared, and then maybe they don't really focus on vault. They focus on other events. But you weren't going to do that.
No.
So
No, she actually had a coach tell her, that's a great vault. Why don't you just keep doing that?
Yeah. Actually, a few coaches are like, everyone wishes they could twist vaults, play into that. That's like a superpower. And I had to tell them, like, but it's not safe because sometimes I'll do a 1.5, if I'm trying to do a full, or even just like normal vaults, I do halves or something.
So I think it was pretty rough. Like, I want to back up a little bit. You were actually really amazing about encouraging us to use the camps. I remember your words. Let's scour the planet and see if we can find somebody who has the magic fix. And Sarah would actually show up at camps and say that.
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool. I was really proud of her watching the transition from the first camp she went to and how she was basically like pumping herself up before the first day of camp, going to have to talk to them about what's going on with me. I'm a level 10 showing up at camp and I pretty much can't do 2 events.
And I'm not even hurt anymore.
Yes.
And I can't do 2 events.
So, how am I going to communicate this? And are they going to want me to, I'm going to camps that I might want to potentially be on their team. So it's kind of awkward and humbling. I was blown away by her willing to be humble and vulnerable and put herself in that situation. And then she was going to have to communicate because that wasn't going to be on me. I don't get to go to the camps and watch or anything. So, she's like, I'm going to go and do timers at a camp, a high performance camp. So, from a mom standpoint, I was blown away that she was feeling good about that, confident about that, and willing to do that. And I just really appreciated you telling us, like, let's see what happens. Like, somebody might have the magic fix. And you plus the parent group, pointed out, this is us looking at them too. And how do these coaches react to this situation? Because we're looking at finding her a home for 4 years to compete gymnastics. And I really want her to go someplace that cherishes her as a human and for her ability to grow and progress, not just because she has talent. Talent's cool and it's great if you're investing in somebody because it's your business, but we want someplace that's going to cherish her for her human abilities and what she can bring to the team. And then I think I remember, Carissa Clay was on your live training. And the only reason I heard that live training was because we were in a hotel room before camp. And so I actually got to hear a lot of it and watching Sarah's face when she's listening to her of, oh, there's hope. Okay, look at her. She's at UCLA and she has mental blocks.
So I remember you're making progress. You're flipping. You're finally getting a non-twisting vault, which to the outside eye is like, what? Why are we cheering? Why are we excited about a timer or about a tuck? But we're like, we are getting control back. You are getting control back. You're building confidence, this strong foundation. You're patiently going through. And then you went to a college and one of these D1 coaches made the suggestion, and tell me if I'm getting this right, but that you become an event specialist and that this was one of the worst mental blocks he'd ever seen.
Yeah.
Did he say that to you directly?
He actually said it to my mom, which I didn't find out until a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, when I heard that, I was like, what? Which is ironic because at that same camp, that's where I made my first real breakthrough and was able to flip without twisting. And I was mad about that. So I'm like, I did it. I fixed it.
This is where it's amazing to have folks like you to email when I get feedback like that. So this coach, it was actually an amazing experience because he held this parent session where you could ask any questions. He was talking about how they recruit to their team and all the things. So he's like, and I'll be here if anyone wants to have one-on-one time. So I went and had said that this is what's going on with my kid. We're scouring the planet, looking for somebody who might have some fixes. And that was the advice. And my heart sank. Like, this is a kid who's made it to nationals as an all-arounder twice already. And I don't want her to give that up. That's one of her superpowers, right? So I don't want to poison the well because this is her journey. If she loves this school and she wants to embrace it, then I want her to experience that. It shouldn't be based on my interactions. But she had her own conversation with him, and he actually gave her some great suggestions about, one-on-one time with her coaches back at home. And one of his assistant coaches was the one who really helped her have some breakthroughs. So I was grateful that I didn't share with her because I think it could have potentially clouded things. But I remember I was so angry. I was walking the campus and I voice texted an email to you. And I was like, I got to tell somebody, Rebecca will get this. I'm going to just, and so I was so grateful when you responded. And because I was just like, my heart was hurting so bad. And you were just so positive. You're like, no, that person does not know what they're saying. That is not accurate. I think you even said something to the effect of, this hasn't been going on that long. This is a home run. She's going to get over this a lot faster than you think. And then I actually texted her coach also, who was actually at another college camp as a clinician. And he told the coaches at that camp what I had been told. So he told the coaches, the college coaches there, also at D1 school, and they said, that is bogus. That is bogus advice. Yes, it is a super hard mental block. Don't disagree there. But she should not start focusing on being an event specialist. So that was between you and all that. I was like, okay, I'm calm. I can make it through the weekend.
Well, and then I just kept meeting all these D1 superstars who had overcome the Twisties, like Avery Neff's like, oh yeah, me too. I'm like, okay, Jennifer, this is not a big deal. And he's just flat wrong. So moving on.
Yes, exactly.
And then you get to see, okay, this is not probably the person for me. This coach has a fixed mindset, and let's find someone with a growth mindset who loves a challenge, who's willing to take a great human on their team, who's also a great gymnast. It's like just good information from my perspective.
Yes, and patience. You want to work with somebody who's patient, not going to just instantly escalate and be grumpy and be like, you're done. So again, it's great data collection. You always talk about that. Good data collection.
Yep. And okay, Sarah, so when you did that first twisting vault recently, how did that feel?
It kind of felt like I knew I was going to make it. I knew I was going to do that. I have control now. And I was smiling really big, and I couldn't wait to show my coaches.
Yeah. Well, and I love that you say that you knew, because when you go slow and you follow your brain's lead, there is always a point where it clicks and you just know. And then you're sort of like, why was this ever hard?
Yeah.
And then I hear from a lot of athletes that I go, well, what did you do? And they're like, it just randomly happened one day, but they aren't factoring in the months of progressions, all of the communication, all of the slowing down and tuning in, all of the mental tools. So what would you credit that twisting vault to? Was it random?
No, it was not random. It was a lot of patience, a lot of resilience, and it really was a group effort with mental coaching and my coaches at home and my parents, maybe a little bit me.
So humble to the last drop, this kid. Yeah. Okay. And Jennifer, I would love to know how you feel like you've changed as a parent over the last couple of years, as you've kind of practiced the Perform Happy principles and watched Sarah go through her journey. What have you noticed about yourself?
I think my helicopter parenting tendencies, I don't think I had a lot of them, but I think they're very low now. Because as a parent, I always just wanted my kids to like, oh, I don't want you to have to go through that. That's so hard. Oh, math is hard. Okay, let's move you to a different math class and make it easier. Don't struggle. No struggles. And I think what I've learned is that there is so much growth in that struggle. We recently got a fortune cookie that said something to the effect of calm waters rarely build strong sailors. And that pretty much sums it up. If it's all easy, you never have those struggles, then you never grow to a higher plane of learning existence of all the things. And so I think it's that, but also just focusing on staying in my lane. I've become almost a gourmet cook because, you always say food rides, hugs, intuition. So every time I'd have these crazy things like, okay, I'm going to be neutral today. I know this is stressing my daughter out, but I need to stay neutral for her. So I'm going to learn how to make this meal. And I've gotten really good at cooking because that was something I could do. That was in the staying in my lane category. So yes, I've gotten to be a great cook. I've gotten to be better at avoiding helicopter parenting tendencies.
And Sarah, what do you notice about your mom and what's different?
She's always been supportive. Just that she lets me have my space too. And if there's ever a problem, she's like, is it me? Do I need to do something? And it never is her. But she always asks that. And every day when I come home from gym, she's never like, how's your day? What'd you do? How many Jaegers did you catch? It's usually like, do you want to talk about it? And she's just there if I ever need anything.
And how has that changed your confidence?
I think it's just made me like definitely more confident because then I can feel okay with how I did and not feel judged. And she doesn't judge me, but just that feeling of a little bit of freedom and like it's okay.
Which I think is like a huge accomplishment, Jennifer, because you are actually literally a judge.
Yes,
a gymnastics
that was
judge.
kind of why I laughed a little bit. But I actually have arranged with our state judging group. They know that I never want to be in one of Sarah's sessions. So yes, it's literal and figurative.
Yeah. So you're not judging her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So now thinking about, others, the whole reason I wanted you on here is because, well, I adore you both, but also because I know how inspiring you both are. So Sarah, what would you say to a gymnast right now who is struggling with a mental block that just feels too bad and they're feeling kind of on the verge of giving up?
I would just tell them to not give up because it really does take patience and coming on the days when you don't want to come, which is so hard. And sometimes you have to struggle through it when no one else around you is struggling. And you just have to keep going and know you can do it because there is a light at the other end. And the best things take time.
Yeah, it's so true. And Jennifer, what would you say to the parent of that gymnast?
Practice neutrality, but also just stay in your lane. Like that is a big thing, and finding resources to help you stay in your lane. I'm extremely grateful for Sarah's coaches because they were so patient with her, with me, because I would ask a lot of questions. When this all first started happening, I was like, I couldn't find any literature at all on the internet. There was like one YouTube about twisting. It was a trampoline person. And then I thought, I'm sure Rebecca has something. So you had a great parent training or something from 2021 with Simone Biles. And again, this is me in the middle of the night going, what is happening? I have to do a search. And then just realizing, okay, I got to reach out to my parent group. I got to just put myself out there, see what people are saying, reach out to, and then we reached out to Suzanne, and just having a support system, because you can't use your athlete as your support system. Okay. If they're going through all these struggles, you cannot vent to them about, wow, this is really stressful. I hear that from parents in the gym of like, this is so expensive. They have got to get this figured out, because if they don't get it figured out, this is thousands of dollars that we're throwing away. I can't imagine what that would do to a kid if somebody were saying that to them. So you have to be neutral. You have to realize that they are going through so much. They do not need your baggage on top of that. But the interesting thing is that I've reached a point where it just doesn't matter to me. Like the other day I was watching Sarah do a double back on the floor, and I was like, that's so cool. And the parent next to me was like, yeah, that is so cool. And she didn't understand why I thought it was so cool. It was so cool because I don't care about the skill. Honestly, I don't. I care about the fact that to get back to that point, there was so much work that went into it. That in my brain was why it was so cool. Not that it was what she was doing. And I think that's what's cool. And that's the change in me, because it used to be like, oh, she's got these skills. Oh, it's all about her gymnastics. Now it's really about, wow, look how far she's come. That's such a resilient skill. Or look at how confident she is out there. It's just, there's definitely a change in me there. But a lot of it Sarah doesn't see, because I don't share that part of my journey, because that's not for her. my baggage doesn't need to be on her. She needs to focus on herself.
Yeah, gosh, so well put. I think every parent should rewind and re-listen to that. That was a master class in yes, A+, both of you. Because there are parents out there who are, having their own financial struggles, which is your own issue. That should not have anything to do with whether your kid is performing for you. That's yours to solve, not theirs. And if they're performing better, it makes it somehow, all of that's just a little bit wacky in my mind as far as, you grown-ups have their stuff and kids have their stuff, and it's important to have your support so that you can go through yours, and you guys don't have to be each other's support. Like I'm guessing, Sarah, that your mom isn't like, of course she's your support, but you've got other people that you can go to when you are stressed with your mom or, not that would ever happen. But it is important for everyone, I think, to have a support squad through this crazy adventure. So Sarah, what are you up to now? What are you excited about for this upcoming season?
I think I'm really excited about how much more confident I feel compared to like last season or just any season ever. I feel confident in myself, in my skills, and just me as a person. And I'm like excited for this season, but I'm more excited for what this is going to do for me in the future when I'm done with gymnastics. It's just really made me grateful and humble and more patient.
Wow. Could you ask for anything more? Every mom's like, can I raise her? Can I have a turn? You're so great. Well, any college team that gets the blessing of you on their team is going to be so, so lucky. And I appreciate both of you being in our community, working so hard. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story today.
Oh, thank you.
We're grateful for all your support.